Hey guys, welcome back to another live stream. We're here today with the gorgeous Pearl. Hey Pearl, how are you?
Hi.
Are you ready for today?
Yes.
We are been experimenting quite a lot with live streaming and it seems to be quite popular. So please be patient while we're trying to nut out this new technology that we're using here, proudly brought to us by Mevo. It's an incredible piece of technology that allows us to just do this and zoom in, but we're still sort of like playing around with it and working on it, so please be patient. So for those of you who aren't aware, we better bring you up to speed on what's been happening. So yesterday we were in salon with Pearl. Pearl had her hair coloured just before we did Lavinia's hair, and she had to run off to work, so we thought we'd get her back today and have a haircut. So we had a little bit of a chat yesterday about what we're going to do. Do you want to show everyone whereabouts we're going to cut it?
So we're going to cut this much off?
So we're going to have it just above the shoulders.
Yeah.
So basically what we spoke about was Pearl felt like she needed a change and she didn't want to go too sort of dramatic at the start. So all we want to aim for is to be clear of the shoulders at the back and then having it come slightly longer at the front so it's just above the shoulders in the front. I think it'll look really pretty on her. Yesterday I'll spin her around. Hannah, one of the colorists here at Axis, did a beautiful colour on Pearl. She had just a little bit of existing blonde in her hair and she had a regrowth, and the regrowth was quite dark. So Hannah just went in and stretched the root, and I'm not sure whether you can see, but she actually added some additional highlighting here. So I think that's going to look extra special when we go and cut it all off. I'm super excited about this. Yeah, are you ready to get started?
Yeah.
I reckon it'll be super cool. Do you have any questions before we start? Anything you want to know?
Not really, I'm just keen to get started, see the before and after.
I've actually been thinking about what we're going to do with this, because if you have a look at the front of Pearl's hair, she's got what looks like a grown out fringe or something still there in the front from last time. So yeah, I'm not quite sure how we're going to work that in with the haircut, but maybe like a swept side fringe or something like that.
Yeah, I was going for like a Cameron Diaz, the mask sort of vibe, where
Right.
she had like short hair and like side bangs. That's what I asked for when I was last at the salon last year.
Okay. So it's taken some time to grow out. I don't know if you guys can see there. I might just grab my iPad, which is amazing because I can use this just to give you guys a little bit of a zoom in. So we zoom in and just have a look. Pearl's got a really balanced forehead, so I wouldn't go and suggest that we go and cut a really short bang on her. I think that if we did that, it might actually make her face look super small. So I think we might keep them long and try and integrate it with the shape. So we have to run over to the basin and get her ready. So we're going to be back in 5. So go grab yourself some popcorn or a coffee or a tea. We're going to jet over to the basin and we'll be back in 5 minutes. Yeah. So chill out with us, please. This is live from the salon. Sweet. Pearl wrote you a Pearl wrote you a little message there, so we'll be back soon. Thanks for being patient, guys. We're back. Let's go Pearl a nice little shampoo just to get her ready. We're talking about it in the previous video with Olivia when we streamed live from the salon last week, and just how harsh Australian sun is to our hair, especially our blondes. And you know, Pearl's hair, when she came yesterday, it didn't look like it had been chemically damaged or colour damaged, but you could tell that just, you know, sun and surf and those type of things just really take its toll. For those of you who have never been to Australia before, Australia is very well known for its super hot climate, especially in summer. Where we live here in Canberra, Australia, we have probably the best of all 4 seasons. You know, in winter we would get, it's not uncommon for it to go below 5 degrees, negative 5 degrees, like minus 5 degrees Celsius, and in summer it's quite common for it to get well into the 40 degrees Celsius. So we really live in a city where, or in a country where the seasons are quite harsh, and unfortunately that does take its toll on hair. So it's going to take a little bit of combing out. I'm just taking some of the moisture out, and then we're going to give it a gentle brush. So for those of you who just joined us, we have been doing a lot of these live streams. We found that they're very popular with you guys, so I think it's for me, in terms of production value, it's very similar. As long as you guys are feeling like you're getting good content and you're learning, and those of you who are just curious about hair, I'm bringing you some entertainment value, and that's great. So just give this a brush out and then we'll get started. It's actually not too bad. So I've just prepped the hair at the basin using Biolage Raw. I use a recovery product, and you would have seen me just spray in my magic water, which is actually known as the Biolage Hydra Source Daily Leave-In Tonic, and I just use some essential oils as well, just to give the hair a nice little bit of slip. Now we'll see if I can actually give this a good comb out. Again today, a lot of people have asked why I've started cutting dry all of a sudden. I'm going to cut Pearl's hair wet. She had her hair coloured and shampooed yesterday, so I could have just cut it dry, but let's do a wet cut for you guys today. Again, if you think that it's going to give me a different result, or if you believe it has given me a different result, make sure you leave a comment. How you feeling, Pearl?
Yeah, good.
You alright?
Yeah.
I'm excited for you. This is going to change your life.
Yeah.
It's going to change everything. It is still a little bit gritty just towards those ends, but they're all coming off, so just be patient. I'm sorry if I accidentally pull a little bit hard, or
Oh, I don't mind at all.
I'm trying to actually be as gentle as I can, even though it may not look like it. I'll spin Pearl around in a sec once I've combed all this out, and we'll get started. So Pearl, tell us a bit about yourself. How old are you?
I'm 18, almost 19.
Nice.
Yeah.
And yesterday you were telling me that a little bit about yourself in terms of what you decided to do this year, which is a little bit different to most people your age.
Yeah, so a lot of my friends are in university, and I was at school for a little bit last year and decided that it wasn't for me. I would rather find out who I am and my purpose and enjoy myself and make money and travel than go to university and break my balls over it.
Hey, don't break my balls. No, it's I think there's a lot of pressure on young people
Yeah.
to you know, go to university straight after.
Exactly.
I guess there's pros and cons, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I think getting that huge hex debt isn't really worth it if you don't really know what you want to do with your life.
Do you want to explain to those who don't know what hex is?
Hex debt is money that you borrow from the bank to pay for your education, and it takes many years for you to pay back.
So for those of you in North America, in Australia, the government has a scheme called HEX, which they allow you to, it's interest free though, right Bill?
Yeah.
So it's interest free loan from the Australian government, so that you can do a degree, so you don't have to worry so much about paying your tuition along the way, but once you get to the end of your degree, you do have to pay back. The government puts in place a scheme where they say, okay, once you start earning a certain amount per year, you have to, your employer will actually pay a proportion of your salary to the government to pay back your university degree. So people listening to this in North America will be salivating over that, because they literally need to come up with like $50,000 per a year to do like a law degree at some colleges, like super expensive. So, but I think you the thing that I loved about the way Pearl told me that yesterday is that I like to see young people actually thinking about their lives and not just doing things because people think it's the right thing to do or that's what they should be doing. So that's awesome, babe.
Yeah. Thanks.
Alright, we've got this back combed out and we'll start with our first section now. So I'll spin Pearl around where you guys are going to be able to see. So we'll cut from this angle here and I think you guys will be able to see quite well. Let's get my stuff around here. Do you have any final words, Pearl, before we change your life indefinitely?
Goodbye, dead ends.
Yeah, it's definitely a good cleanse. So I'm going to have close by to me my trusty Hydrosaur spray, which we're definitely going to need. 100% going to need that. And you can see that I tried my best to comb out Pearl's hair. Unfortunately, the comb sort of struggled a little bit through there, so I ended up using a brush. And there's a little bit of hair coming out of my comb, but it's not the hair that was coloured, it's just that it's so dehydrated, and I think it's probably a little bit of normal hair loss that just comes out once you give the hair a good scrub at the base and loosen it away from the scalp. So please don't judge me. This is going to be probably a little bit longer than what it would normally be, just because I want to be as gentle as I can be and not yank too hard on this. But once we get the length to where we want it to be, it'll be smooth sailing from there on, I think. Alright, so again, as always, section the hair to where you feel comfortable and you can control, rather than taking micro, small sections. Just take sections that you're able to control the hair, and it allows you to get an accurate cut. You don't have to be obsess over super fine sections. There we go, nice. Alright, just here, sit forward a bit, gorgeous. I'm just going to pull your cape down. Great, and back. And chin up, just normal head position. So we're aiming for just above the shoulders here. So we're just going to curve it around and then retain the length towards the front. And I don't want to do it concaved. I want to do it in a much more modern shape. And at the moment they're square. So it is longer towards the front, but we cut one straight line on a square plane or a horizontal plane, and it just leaves that little bit of length towards the front. Chin down, gorgeous. Thank you. Let's get started. It's just check and just chin up again. Needs to be a tiny bit shorter, like half a centimetre. This might push your collar in a little bit more. So if you're not going to go to university, what are you going to do? Where's the first adventure for Pearl in 2019? Well, you've cut your hair off, so you're about to change your life.
Yeah.
Coco Chanel said that, right?
Yeah.
A woman who cuts off, or a woman who changes her hair is about to change her life.
Well, I'm going to work this year and then travel at the end of the year with my family and by myself.
So do you have something planned already, like the first trip? Or?
The first trip I'm meeting up with some friends from overseas and we're meeting in Bali.
Where's, for those of you who don't know where Bali is a beautiful island in Indonesia. Just, it's actually very close to Australia. Indonesia is actually our closest neighbour in the north. It's, if you're in somewhere like Darwin at the very top of Australia, it's like a 2-hour flight or something. It's very close.
Yeah.
And how long do you plan to stay in Bali?
Can't remember. A few weeks, I think. And then in November, we're going to England to visit some friends. But I'm going to have to book all my flights myself. So that's what I'm working towards. So maybe a white Christmas. That would be nice. My first white Christmas.
Well, you know what we can do. For those of you who enjoy me doing Pearl's haircut, the best way for you to say thanks is to donate. At the bottom of the live chat feed, there's actually a dollar sign. You can click on that and you can donate to Pearl's travel fund. How about that? And then post live stream, if you want to make a donation, you can do so, and I will 100%, as the Lord is my witness, I will pass every single dollar on to Pearl, and then when she comes back from overseas, she's going to let us cut her hair even shorter.
Sounds great.
Yes.
Thank you.
Alright, so you can see that there are, I think when we're cutting hair off like this, it's not something you just have to be patient. Like, there is obviously existing damage in the hair. Like I said, it doesn't look like colour damage, it just looks like it's damage caused by just the elements that we live in here in Australia. So the combing out part has to be, you have to be a little bit patient. And I think there's no real fast way to do it. You want to make sure your client's comfortable, so just always make sure that you're gentle. It'll show in the result and your client will be happy for it. Might just see if I can get you guys in a little bit tighter there. Let's see how that works, guys. Hopefully that helps you a little bit. Just make sure, for those hairdressers that are watching, one of the things I say when we're doing this is, when you're cutting to the left, sit to the right. When you're cutting on the left, sit to the right. When you're cutting on the right, sit to the left. It'll mean that you naturally, your body will over direct, and it will make sure you don't cut those very, very precious corners off that we're trying to preserve. And for those of you who just joined in, please don't judge my sectioning. We've already had a conversation about this hair's a little bit sort of dehydrated from the Australian summer, and it's been a little bit hard to section out, but we're going to get there. It's very naughty.
Yeah.
Touching down, gorgeous one, perfect. I hope the audio is a little bit better. We had a couple of people say that the audio wasn't great today, so I contacted Mevo overnight and they have showed me how to adjust the microphone settings, so hopefully you guys can hear us a lot better than the last live stream we did.
You should get like another little microphone to put near the scissors so you can like hear the ASMR like cutting of the scissors. So satisfying.
So you can see I'm just cutting off all that little bit of graduation that pokes its head out because I've held the hair between my fingers and you projected it away from zero. You're just going to get that little bit of graduation there. You just got to nick it out. Balance, final section in the back. Must be feeling a little bit lighter for pearl.
Yeah, it's going to be such a shock to wash. But, oh my goodness.
Shock or a relief?
A bit of both.
Yeah, you had a lot of the babes. So now just for a little different perspective, I might just swing around to this side for you guys and let you watch from here. It's probably this way is better. You see my scissor hand, not my hold hand. Chin down, babe. Thank you. Got a bit of a crowd outside the door, not only watching us on their phones on YouTube, but they're actually looking through the window and I can hear a couple of, oh my gods, look how much hair he's cutting off. So it's quite an interesting phenomena that we have people that like to actually come past the salon here in Canberra, and while we're streaming live, they actually like to watch it through the window, which is sort of cool and maybe slightly creepy at the same time, but only creepy for me because I can hear them, but I can't see them because they're obviously behind me. So sort of like, you're like, are they talking about us? Like, yeah, they are. That's sort of cool. Almost finishing the back off here. And the final part. Perfect. And we'll just check balance. I think the typical right-hander, always leave the right side slightly longer. And just check and you'll see, when I mean slightly, it's like literally a couple of millimeters, so hopefully you guys can see nice and tidy. There it is, look at that. And that actually makes a big difference. Because one thing I do say is, a millimetre here equals a centimetre at the front. So if you are 1 millimetre out on your first section, by the time you've done 10 sections, you're 1 centimetre off balance. So it's really, really important that we work really super accurate and we triple, double check. Just going to give it a little squash with my finger now just to see if we can get any graduation poking out. There is a little bit. We'll take that off. You can do this dry, and you've obviously seen me do it dry many times. I have had a lot of people, as I've already said, ask if I can do a few wet cuts again, so that you can see if there is a tangible difference between cutting the hair wet and dry. I just think that for me, cutting hair dry, I have a little bit more control. I don't know that it actually specifically, don't know if there's any sort of clear sort of evidence that it actually does get you a better result, or it's wet's better or dry's better. I think it comes down to, as a hairdresser, like your personal preferences. So I just mentioned in most of my videos that when you cut hair dry, you can actually identify naturally occurring elements in the hair that can become problematic, like hairlines and crowns and cowlicks, and so that's why I do like to sometimes work on the hair when it's already been dried off, if I foresee that there may be any problems. Awesome, head up, babe. That length is spot on. What do you guys think? We'll spin Pearl around so we can just see. We might get like a wide shot if we can. As you can see, it's just going to miss her shoulder coming forward. Great. So now what we're going to do is we're going to just work from left to right, right to left, left to right, right to left, one section at a time until we run out of hair. And then we'll dry the hair off, and then the remainder of the haircut will be completed when the hair's dry. I'd like to give a shout out to Peter and Russell at Excellent Edges in Melbourne, Australia, who supply me with the most incredible cutting equipment that any hair cutter could hope for. They are durable, super sharp, and I'm not saying that a tradesperson or a hairdresser should ever blame their tools if the result's not there, but having high quality equipment helps you absolutely get a better result. So thanks Pete and Russell for always keeping my stuff sharp. This way for me, thank you. Can you hear that? Oh my God. Hi everyone. I'm going to do some live streaming from New York, so if you would like to have all your hair cut off by me without the bill, you need to send me an email, and I can't choose someone particularly that, you know, I'm not going to just like favourite somebody, but you basically sit down, and I have a really simple saying, and it's no pay, no say. So if that's something you might be interested in doing, let us know. And for those of you who are already booked in to see me, I genuinely appreciate it. I'm looking forward to meeting some cool New Yorkers. I've never been to New York before, it'll be my first time. So hopefully you'll make me welcome. Let's just snip some of this off, get it out of the way.
Oh goodness.
So after Bali, Pearl, you said you're going to the UK. You got some friends that are already over there, or
Yeah,
cool.
some friends that live there. And I haven't seen them in 5 years.
Wow.
So
it'll be
have
like
to
a
go
reunion,
visit.
huh?
Yeah, it'll be a lovely reunion. I can't wait. Yeah, shout out to Camille.
Say that again.
Shout out to Camille.
Hey Camille, how are you? Shout out to everyone in the UK too. Hope you're tuned in. Looking forward to getting over there in August. I'm going to head up to Manchester to watch my beloved Manchester City, and I'm also going to be in London, looking after a few of my very special private clients. So if you're in London and you would like me to cut your hair while I'm there, you need to reach out to Michelle, my wife, and she will book you in. And she'll be able to send you out some information on dates, and then we're off to Budapest
Awesome.
in Hungary, because Michelle's Hungarian.
Oh, really? That's
Yeah, so we'd like to go there and check that out. I think that'd be pretty cool. And then we're going to head over to Serbia, to a little place called Novi Sad, and just there's a little bit of history for my wife's family over there too, so we're going to go and check that out. Oof. Buy a large raw. Smells good. It does. It smells really good. The next live stream we do, I'm going to have someone come in, and they're going to be able to answer, or they're going to be able to read out your questions to me while we're doing this, and that way we'll be able to interact with you guys a little bit better. But I can't actually see the questions because they just flash up real quick and then they drop out, and there's so many questions coming through at any one time. It's a little bit hard to keep up. But Pearl and I hang around for 5 minutes once the haircut's done, and any questions you have for her or I, we'll be happy to answer them. You cool with that, Pearl?
Yeah.
Do you have to work today?
I have a job opportunity this
Oof.
afternoon.
Oh, that's good. Well, we won't
Yeah.
be here till this afternoon.
Yeah.
What time's that, bud?
1 p.m.
Chick, chick, boom. 1 p.m. Well, it's now 10:55 a.m. here in, calm down, Canberra, Australia. Always keep 10 spares. I would drop my comb a dozen times a day, at least once for every client. Oh, actually, probably not that many. Mainly more in long hair because it gets a bit tangled. So, shout out to all those stylists who feel bad because they drop their comb all the time. I don't even bother picking it up. I just get another one and then I wash them all at once because I actually do it that often. Check balance, feels pretty good. Swing back over this side. And you guys will now start to be able to see that beautiful square look, short to long coming through. I have had many healthy debates and conversations with stylists all over the world, including here in Australia. This is not concave. It is not concave because concave by definition cannot have straight edges. It must have round edges. So a lot of people get this confused for concave. It's not, it's actually, it is over-directed. You are shifting the distribution, and when you cut all the hair on one point and you bring the hair to one point, or you increase it, as we know when we layer hair, when you allow it to go back to its natural fall, it's obviously going to fall longer than where you've over-directed or projected it to, and that's how you create this type of shape on a lob, which I'd say this is the shortest of the lob, but for me this isn't a bob, this is still a lob. Hope you guys can still see that there. Big shout out to all my family at Matrix, who are, I believe, in Cancun at the moment. Thanks for the invite. Not? Man, didn't even get a call up. Didn't even get a call up to Cancun. Come on, guys. Show me some love. No, seriously, I've been watching it on Instagram. The work has been incredible. I'm very proud to say I'm a part of the Matrix family here in Australia. And you never know, one day I might just get to go and rub shoulders with some of those international stylists too, which would be super cool. Do some haircuts. You can see that now starting to come through there. Let's swing around to the other side. Third last section, Pearl. Pearl's seeing herself in the mirror at the moment. Has anyone ever told you look like Gaga?
Really?
Yeah,
That is
you
the biggest compliment.
Yeah, you do. You look like Gaga. It's like my daughter actually said to me the other day. She said, "There's a couple of," and look, I'm not judgmental, and I wouldn't say I was ultra hyper conservative, but there's a couple of female artists at the moment that are quite prominent in the music world that I just don't like the message they're sending out to young women, and I'm not going to name them because I've met some of them in Los Angeles, and they are beautiful people, and it's not their fault. It's that I think that sometimes there needs to be a filter for how easily young people who probably don't understand what they're hearing and they don't know how to interpret what someone's saying, but they're still getting access to this music. So, another long conversation. But I told her, I said, babe, you know what? You want to hear one of the most beautiful voices and one of the most beautiful and lyrically talented female artists in my generation, and probably yours too. I said, listen to Lady Gaga, and she's now Gaga obsessed. And when I saw her yesterday, because she watches it on YouTube, because she doesn't like to hear, and I remember I said to you the other day that she's actually in performing arts. She went to Sydney to watch Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. She likes to watch them live, so she likes to see the dancing and the singing together. So it's always on YouTube. And just this morning on the way to drop her at school, she had a clip of Gaga singing in a radio station in Los Angeles, and I was like, holy shit, that looks like Pearl. It just popped straight in my head. I was like, wow, it really does look like you a lot. So.
Thanks. She's beautiful.
She's beautiful.
Did you see A Star Is Born?
No, I haven't seen it yet. Is it on Netflix or?
No, not yet. It just came out in cinemas.
Oh right, I'll go and see it at the cinema. Or I'll wait for it to come out on iTunes or something. I don't have time to get to the cinema and watch movies because we're making our own here at Access. Actually, maybe I can do that today after I cut your hair. So it's premiered now?
I'm not sure if it's still showing, but it probably is.
Yeah, I actually obviously heard about it. If you haven't heard about it, you're probably not living on Earth, but I haven't been to the movies in a while. The last time I went to the movies, I saw, what's it called? Someone Wrecks the Internet.
Oh, Wreck-It Ralph?
Yeah, Wreck-It Ralph Wrecks the Internet. I went with my daughter.
Yeah.
I fell asleep. Whoops.
Did she like it?
Yeah, she goes, Dad, you fell asleep again. I was like,
Oops.
Sorry, babe. Sorry, I hope you enjoyed it. I always make sure that I have my arm across her leg just in case I fall asleep. So no, she can't sneak off to the bathroom or something. I don't know what it is, man. I think it's just because it's like downtime for me, and it's just, I don't know.
It's dark.
Yeah, I don't know. Fell asleep. I think I fell asleep during Trolls as well. I fell asleep during The Greatest Showman.
Yeah.
Hugh Jackman, sorry mate. Sorry Hugh. Whoops. Hope you don't mind, brother. Alright, second last section, combing it all back. Now this is an important one. I'm going to tell you guys why, so I'm going to get the pelvis tip head to the side. This needs to come straight back. This needs to come straight back like this. Right, not to the side, it needs to come straight back, and you need to comb it into the baseline here. So it takes a little bit of patience. So first I ask my client to tilt the head to the left. Now if you could tilt it to the right, awesome. And so you want to bring this straight back in to that baseline. Try not to manipulate it too much. If you're going from long to short like me, you can take a little bit of it off. Just remember that when you do that, guys, instantly you lighten the hair and it can spring up on you. So make sure you give yourself plenty of grace before you go and lop off excess length, especially when you've already cut the majority of the haircut. And now we just very gently with minimal tension on this one. This is the important one. You don't want to put any tension on this at all if you can avoid it.
Yeah, sorry about having like 3 different colour skin tones. I did fake tan on Friday night so I could go out on Saturday night and feel brown and beautiful.
What do we call those? Fake bakes.
Yeah.
Well, it's better than getting a tan. There's nothing healthy about a tan, especially in this country.
Yeah, UV is
And
way
in Canberra, what are we? Elevation 600 metres above sea level or something?
Yeah.
But the highest point I think is Black Mountain, I think is like 800. Mate, the skin fucking burns you like you're on a barbecue.
Nothing cool about melanomas.
Nope, that is scary, scary stuff. And the, melanoma is not just for people who have been out in the sun for 50 years. Melanoma is happening to people that are under the age of 30 at scary rates. Done. Again, I want to make sure we comb all this back. Slide. And the transformation is almost complete. Now it's like, in theory, this is quite a simple haircut, but in reality, to cut a straight line is sometimes very difficult. And I know that because I see hairdressers struggle with it all the time. That's good. Alright. Get your hands in it, babe. Give it a shake. What do you think of the length?
Oh my goodness. I love it. It's so weird though. Like weird.
Spin you around. You can see there in the back. You can see that coming through the side there. Slightly longer. Other side. Slightly longer too. Alright. Now it's dry time.
Awesome.
2 products I'm going to use for this today. One is Smooth Setter, Matrix Smooth Setter, just the tiniest little bit. A lot of people use this as a beautiful cream just to add to the hair to blow dry, smooth. I don't like to use too much because I've already used the Bi-Large Hydro Source Daily Leave-In Tonic, just because of how knotty the hair was previously. I just thought I'd put that in there. It just makes it a little bit more comfortable because you get a little bit of extra slip in the hair, and obviously with a balm that's designed to smooth hair, it's going to be that little bit smoother and easier for us to get the hair into a straighter, smoother shape for dry cutting. No, I'm not done yet, guys. I'm nowhere near done yet. So for those of you worried about that, don't worry about it. Eyes closed, gorgeous. Wrap drying. Wrap drying is something that I'm often asked about. The most flattering shape to dry anyone's hair to is their own head, not a round brush. Now, before everyone starts throwing stones at me, that doesn't mean that round brushes are no good. As a hair cutter, I believe that you should be able to cut true wash and wear shapes. And to cut true wash and wear shapes, they've got to be dried to the shape of the head and not required to have a round brush to get the hair to sit well. At the end, when the texture's a little bit off, it's a bit fluffy, sure, you can put a round brush in just to smooth it, or a flat iron or whatever, but the majority will, and you guys know when I prep and pre-dry, I always, what we call, and what I learned at Sassoon, wrap dry the hair to the shape of the head. One thing that I have moved on from is I don't use a Denman brush anymore, and there's only one reason for that. They perform amazingly. I actually think they perform the best, but unfortunately a lot of my clients, if it's just me being a little bit heavy-handed, they make comments to me about how it's a little bit like rough on the scalp. As if you tuned in yesterday and watched the video I did with Lavinia, she actually commented on how beautiful this felt on the head. So big shout out to Cohen and the team at Glam Palm. Amazing brush, you can grab it on my website. So I use that essentially just to smooth the hair out. And we want to wrap the hair. So I always start in the front. Then we just head moves to the side a little bit. We start to work in the temple. When you come near the ear, make sure you put your hands there. There's nothing friendly and comfortable about blowing air straight into someone's ear with a hairdryer. It's actually very, like it actually startles people. It's very uncomfortable. And always watch where the air's going. You can see the air's moving the hair in the direction that I want. The brush is just pushing the hair out of the way so I can get to the wet hair underneath. Then once I've got to the ear, then I've got the cold button on now. Now we start to bring the hair back down, and you'll see that, sorry Phil, you'll see that shape starting to form without manipulation. Manipulation of your haircut shouldn't be required to get it to sit well, in my opinion. And I have to stress that these are just my opinions. I've never once said that I'm right and someone else is wrong. One thing that we also need to do as hairdressers is we need to be able to use both hands when we blow dry. So I actually can do both hands, and it was because when I was trained, the person who trained me was very good. He was very hard on me, and one week I would have to blow dry with my left hand, and then the next week with my right hand. So I guess that's how you teach someone to do it both ways. If your client hasn't had their hair dried like this before, it's probably worth mentioning to them that you're going to blow dry your hair on the face. I have a beautiful friend who's a very, very talented educator at Matrix Australia. Her name's Helen, and when I cut her hair and I do this, it actually drives her crazy, literally crazy, and she's by no means difficult. It's just that some people find the hair on their face very uncomfortable. So if someone comes to your salon for the first time and you're wrap drying their hair, you need to explain the benefits of doing it this way and why you chose to do it this way. Otherwise they'll think that, what's this person doing? Usually, they just clip my hair up and they just blow dry starting from the back, and it's always important that we remember that communication is generally the reason why we either succeed with our clients or fail. Generally it's because our communication hasn't been as good as it could be. And you can really see that point starting to form there in the front. I mean, that's gorgeous. Beautiful. Front's almost dry. Spin curl around. I'll show you guys what we do on the back. on the back from here, head to the side again, and we start to move the hair forward, just because it's wet and it's in the way. And then we start to lift. And you can see that I'm using the neck to mould the hair. Cold button goes on, start to brush the hair down. So I've got the brush in my left hand at the moment, and you can imagine for me to do this with my left hand like that would be hard. So we need to learn to do what I said, and you've got to swap hands. So I'm just lifting the hair out of the way so that the hair dryer can do the work. You don't have to, push the hair down. You just use the air of the hair dryer, and it will mould the hair to the shape of the head and the neck, no problem. Working around into the side. All the way to this side. Is that hot on your head, Pearl? No. At no point. So if Pearl's not feeling the heat, what does that ultimately mean for the hair, guys? It means that the heat isn't affecting her skin, which is a living cell, and she can't feel it and it's not uncomfortable. So if it's not feeling hot on her actual skin, it's obviously very, very gentle for the hair, which is very important. Which brings me to a question that I was asked and I addressed yesterday about why I dry hair like this. It's because I retain moisture in the hair, and someone sent me a DM. Shout out to Robert. How are you, Robert? Hope you're well today. And as always, thanks for your questions, because I always encourage debate. I always encourage people to question the things that I say and fact check it. And he said to me that moisture in hair, and then when you use a flat iron, means that you will fry it. And he was right and wrong at the same time. He was right. If you leave the hair wet or damp and you use a styling iron, you're going to fry the hair, 100%. But this is dry. Can you put your hand in your hair, babe? Does it feel dry?
Yeah.
It's dry. But we're leaving moisture in because we're not doing this. Like imagine that. Like, do that to your skin. Go like this on your skin. And you want to do it on people's hair, like, all day. Like, it's not good. That's why I air dry the hair. And then once we've air dried the hair, then we touch it. We make sure that there's no moisture left in it. We're running our hands through. It's not wet at all. It's completely touch to dry, or dry to touch. Now we've got the cool button going now. Now we start to pull the hair down. And this is where, actually not just yet. No cool button yet. We're going to get you to put your head up for us, Pearl. Just back to natural head position if you could. Don't flip your hair back. Now we're going to start manipulating the top of the hair and the crown. And we're going to bring that back a little bit at a time, section at a time. And you're going to see this beautiful natural volume that you create by using this drying method. Is that fun? That was like a park ride. Alright, cold buttons on. Bring all this back in. Big shout out to Dyson too. I wasn't a fan in the beginning, and I'll tell you why I wasn't a fan, and I'm happy to admit when I'm wrong. I said, I can't do my job with this. And the reason why I said I couldn't do my job with this is because I actually didn't understand the technology and I didn't know how to use it. So I did a bit of research. So if you're a wet to dry blow dryer, you're going to put this in the bin. It's a very expensive experiment if you do. But if you dry the hair the way I've done it, your clients will continue to rave about how amazing their hair feels, because now all I need to do, and you'll see me do it afterwards, is I get a round brush, as I mentioned before, and I'm just going to adjust the fluffiness, and it leaves the hair feeling beautiful. The Dyson, if you put something at the front, if you go like this, the air will just come straight out the back. It actually won't come out the front. It requires quite a considerable amount of distance between the brush and the blow dryer for it to work. So I was, doing these like this, and I'm like, this doesn't work. Like it's, as all hairdressers, it couldn't possibly be me. It's the hairdryer. Toss it in the bin. But once I had done the research on the engineering and learnt how it was actually designed to be used, the way I just showed you to use it, I don't think I could ever live without it. So thanks, Dyson. You make my days easier, and you make my clients' hair feel nicer. And that's not a shameless plug. I do not get paid by Dyson. They probably don't even know who I am. Actually, I know they don't know who I am. So I got nothing to gain from that other than you guys getting the best result for your client on their hair. So like all new technology, we need to learn how it was engineered and how it's meant to be or intended to be used. Let's check this haircut. There will be an adjustment that needs to be made around the front, but first we're going to check the back. No more knots, hey Pearl?
Yeah, feels great.
Hope you guys are loving it, because it's amazing. Pearl said to me yesterday, I'm worried about cutting my hair short because it's fine. And what did you say? I'm worried it's going to be what?
Too flat.
Too flat.
Yeah.
Is that flat? Like, that's not flat. It's got volume in it. Alright, I'm just going to set up this static shot for you guys. Big shout out to Mevo. You guys rock. This camera is amazing. I really, really enjoy working with the Mevo Pro. It allows me to focus on what I'm doing rather than having to zoom in all the time. So every time I go and set up a static shot, as soon as I go near where I'm going to be working, it will zoom in, and if I step away, it will zoom out. So the first thing I'm going to do is we're going to see all this graduation from underneath here, and you can see that poking through. We're going to get rid of that. Now, people don't walk around life with their heads down like this, but you still need to cut that out.
Actually, they do.
Do they? Yeah, they do. They're on their phone. Good point, Pearl. We were talking about that yesterday, weren't we?
Yeah.
I have never, I have to say, you're 19, yeah?
Yeah.
I've never met a 19-year-old like Pearl that I had such a meaningful conversation with. We started talking about the environment, we started talking about, things that are actually meaningful and purposeful in life, and we just hit it off after about 5 minutes, and I was super, I went home and I said to my wife, you know what, I haven't lost faith in the youth, not that I ever had, but in terms of conversation I sort of had, and I thought, it's just because you're too old, but Pearl and I, we didn't quite solve the world's problems yesterday, but we come close to it, because we said the best thing we can do is continue to have conversations with like-minded people about it and not worry about risking offending someone, because if you are worried about offending someone, you actually can't have a conversation or a debate, therefore you can't make any progress.
Yeah, and we didn't agree on everything. So
No,
I
we didn't.
actually learnt stuff. that
We're never
I
going to
didn't
agree on
know.
everything.
Yeah.
I was born in 1978. What year were you born?
I was born 2000.
Yeah, so, do you know that in the year two, like in 1993, I got my first internet connection.
What?
Yeah, so you know, like you have to understand that
Yeah.
we're not going to fundamentally disagree on things because we don't have the same goals and dreams at heart, but we will disagree on things just purely because we were born in different eras, and that's just makes us different. But that doesn't mean you can't tell someone my age how you see the world through your eyes, and I can't tell you how I see it through my eyes, because someone thinks that I'm going to offend someone or you think you might offend someone. So here's the free speech, and if you don't like what someone's saying, rather than having a whinge and saying you can't say that, just walk away, because you need to have healthy debate in life, otherwise it would just be super ultra boring. Healthy debate is such an important part of getting shit done. Now look at the debates we have about hairdressing, just about how to use a hairdryer, you know, just about how to use a styling iron. And I'll use the analogy I just used before. Now it could have gone two ways with me. Like I got that message from another hairstylist who I think just from looking at their Instagram account and their salon page has probably the same or more experience than me. So I could have gone, what does he know? Like, whatever, dickhead, like, whatever. That's some people's attitude. My attitude is, no, hang on a minute, like, he's well within his rights to say what he said, because in theory, what he said is actually true. The problem was, it started with me, because I'm vague as shit, and I didn't actually clarify that you want to retain, chin down, babe? You want to retain moisture in the hair, not leave it wet. So, instead of allowing our emotions to dictate our behaviour, we should think that it's okay for someone to question what we've done, and it's unnecessary to get your back up and pissed off and argumentative and think that someone has no idea what they're talking about, because that's a narrow-minded attitude, and that shit starts wars. Not literally, but that's how wars start, by someone thinking that, you know, they're more important than someone else. Did you hear that? Someone just said, wow. Yeah, enough about that. Back to the hair. So, just working through chipping away at this graduation, and you can see that, actually I'll just move that, you can see that in there. And the hair will move around a little bit. I'll have to check this again before we're done, because I'm going to texturise the ends, and I'm going to layer this section as well, using seamless layering technique, because we don't want to make this bob look classic. So we'll zoom back out now, and I'll show you how I'm going to do that. I'll spin around this way so you guys can see. So we're just going to start some texture. You've probably seen me do this before, little sections at a time. And we're going to make sure that we don't take chunks out. I don't want to disturb that beautiful design line that I just spent 40 minutes or so putting in, because I talk more than I cut when I do live streams. This haircut will take me probably wet to dry 45 minutes in the salon, but I like to try and bring value to you guys when I do this, and I think a part of that is sharing my thoughts as we're going through doing this, and also listening to the person who's in the chair and, you know, about their life and their experiences. So. Working through the final. I don't know if you guys can see, but I'm being very mindful of not disrupting that cutting line. It's still there. You don't want to chop across like this. You can be quite heavy-handed with the texture underneath, but just be quite gentle with it as you move towards the top. So what this does in a shape like I've given Pearl today is just creates a little bit of movement underneath. Now I've gone from horizontal texture to vertical texture. Hope you guys can see that, all right? On the top layer, I want it to be a little bit more aggressive. So you can see that I'm being a little bit heavy-handed. And then once you do this, what I find from my experience happens is all of a sudden this section of the haircut becomes lighter and you need to recheck that baseline again. That's feeling good. I like to do a little all together, increase to the middle, and this one's very gentle. You'll see that this is super light. That. Chin down just a little. Perfect. Beautiful. Yeah. Nice and choppy. Makes it edgy and fun. Right, so while we're on the texturizing, before I go back to the baseline, I'm just going to continue working with vertical sections, over directing towards the back, just to lighten this out. I think we've probably covered what I'm about to say before, but we need to be very careful when we're working with this sort of length hair. You can make, and I don't mean to be disrespectful to anyone that's listening, but you can actually make young women look inappropriately mature. So we need to be very careful about how structured we leave lob and bob length haircuts on young females. At the same time, when you're working on someone that's a little bit older, the same rules apply. Make it edgy and fun. Like, one thing about as we age, and I'm a good example, I'm 40 and I'm growing a mullet because I just think it's fun and cool, is that you can have a younger hairstyle. Just because you're aging doesn't mean that you have to have boring hair. So now you can see what's starting to happen there in the side. Can you guys see how I worked that length from the front, the existing growing out bang, into this? Pretty cool, huh? Right, spin around the other way. Now we're working back this way. last section. Super cool. Going to leave those points to last because obviously there's length here that needs to come off and this needs to be checked, but I'm just going to spin pearl around this way first. I'll get you just to readjust yourself if that's alright. Just sit up nice and straight, slide your bum to the back, make sure you're nice and square. We're going to check balance. Just uncross your legs for me, super important while we check your balance, because what naturally happens is when you cross your legs, you tend to sort of like lean to one side. It's just a natural thing that we do. Alright, so just want to do a little bit of increased layering in this haircut. So I'm just going to take a section like with my finger like this. So I'm just running my fingers along. Let you guys see that. I'm working all the way into the crown. I'll spin back around this way so you can see what I've done. Then you're probably more interested in having a look at the angle. So this is coming right back to the beginning, and we're actually going to create a shape through there, and then we'll leave that, split that in half, and then everything's going to come to that point. I actually have spun pearl back around in front of the mirror in my salon. It's very important that I project this back to the middle. Because we don't want to create any holes on the side. The same on this side. You look amazing. Amazing. Just going to give you a bit of a blast. Then we're going to cut that front. I'm going to style you. I think we're pretty close to being done. After you've texturised, just go easy with the brush, because if there's cut hair in there, it'll get caught. And this is where I'm going to now deploy my round brush. I'm going to use a large bone round brush. And again, good distance between the Dyson and the brush. And we're just adjusting texture. I'm not going anywhere near the head of the scalp. Just adjusting the texture. Making sure we've got consistent texture throughout. Saw a curly bit under there. Head to the left for me, babe. What are you doing down there? Got a little bit of a curl on your hairline there. Just head back up to normal head position, please. Perfect. Moment of truth. Need to check our sides. You guys have seen me do this before. Could you look to your left, please, Phil? Thank you. Maybe a little bit back towards me. Yep, perfect. Before I do that, what we need to do is just look straight again, bud. Thank you. Just find that natural parting first. Do you move your part around?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know. So, it's very important to ask that. So what we're going to do first is we're actually going to go really deep on the left-hand side. We're going to comb all this to this side. Super important. This will end up layering the hair a little bit, but if Pearl is wearing her hair in different partings, you need to do this, otherwise she'll think you missed a little bit. So if you could just look this way for me. Perfect. Look at that. That was behind the ear. I missed that. I don't know if you guys can see it. But that's stuck behind the ear. It's very important that we check those things. Okay, now just look a little bit more towards me. Yep, perfect. Don't know if you guys have picked up on it, but I haven't texturized this part yet. That was the only part from underneath that I didn't texturise. That's good. And just look straight ahead. Perfect. Just misses your shoulder, good. That's what we're aiming for. And just look to the left again. And straight. Perfect. I'll do the other way. I just thought I'd take you with me. I could have just walked around. Did you look to the right now? Thank you. Well, with that. Bang. All that hair from this side now, back to that natural parting. I need to bring all that back over here too. And what I'm going to do with that growing out bang or fringe in the front is I'm actually going to leave it as a sweat fringe so it can be worn and integrated like that. I think it'll be quite nice for working it through there. Right, babe, just to the right again one more time. For those of you who are calling it out at home, I haven't forgotten. Don't forget to texturise the front on this side adds. If you could just head to the right for me, beautiful. Background. Grab my trusty Glam Palm paddle brush. Wash all this back off your face. Beautiful. Amazing. Just to your right again, a little bit more. Perfect. There it is. You guys see that? But I said before that 1 millimetre here ended up making the hair 2 centimetres longer over there. So it's really important that you get that right, and that probably would have just come from me maybe stretching it too far when I pulled it back into the rear section, baseline. Okay, nice and straight. And sort of lay into that side, you just look straight up. Thank you. Bang length, loving it. What do you think?
Yeah, I love it. Who am I? Don't recognize her.
You are a better version of yourself because you've decided to reinvent the way people perceive you, starting with your hair, which is amazing. Okay, what I'll get to do for me is just don't put your weight on there, just stand up for a sec. Yeah. And stay there right where you are, you don't need to move. I want to see where this is. It's cool. Okay, so look this way for me. Actually, you know what? Just step out of there and we'll do it here so everyone can see. So you just look straight into the camera for me. So something that happens sometimes, and I'm very meticulous, so when we look here, it's probably negligible, the variation in balance, but for me it's not good enough. There's something going on there and I can't work out what it was. So sometimes, you know, like Pearl's tiny, like literally tiny. And the chairs that she's sitting in are the same width as like business class. So she's sliding all over the chair and sort of struggles to stay upright. So the best thing to do is to ask someone to stand up, and we're going to diagnose why I'm not happy with the balance. So now that we've done that, you can face me, like spin your whole body, stand nice and straight and just look towards the camera. Perfect. I want to make sure this side's right first. And just look back towards me. And now this way. And yes, because the parting isn't in the center, there will be a little bit of natural imbalancing, but too much for my liking. Gotcha. It's there. Let the hair fall naturally, don't force it. And then straight back away. And look at them. Spot on. Spot on, banging, spot on. Spot on the shoulder, spot on over the ears, spot on in the points. Just step out of the way, darling. I'll pull your chariot back out. Take a seat, please. Spin around. Down. There's one last thing that I want to have a look at here. Just looks a little bit heavy and a bit off, so just going to introduce a tiny little bit of layering. I'm not really loving how it's falling. Geometry in hair cutting is so important. Like my angle here was just slightly off, and it varies from person to person.
depends on the head shape, depends on the length, the neck length, so many different variables. But if it's not right, you know, and I'm doing this live, so I'm under pressure. If it's not right, it's not right. Just fix it. Just adjust it. Like, don't be too proud to say to your client, you know what? I know you're in a bit of a hurry, but I'm just not quite happy. Like, for me, it's just not sitting. It's just not sitting how I want it to. And I would like to just quickly adjust it and take another 5 minutes of your time and make sure that it's the way that it's meant to be. And I just didn't like how it was falling in the back, so we're going to do a little bit of an adjustment. So we're just going into like what's called a square layer, over directing it to the back, because I just feel it's a little bit sort of round and a little bit graduated looking in the back. And then we'll just retexturise it and it'll be done. And you'll see the change in the shape as the hair's falling out of my fingers. I'm happy now. Banging. Bang on. Bring the rest in. Well, I tell you, this job that you're going for today, this certainly won't go against you, this haircut. This will definitely go in your favour. Look amazing. So you should have a new found confidence to go to that and just should just be oozing out of you. I was going to do this job interview today. I knew I was coming here, so the first thing I did was I went to Axis Hairdressing in Braddon, got my hair cut and coloured by Hannah and Adam, and wanted to make sure that when I came here today, you guys understand the standard that I'm going to set when I represent your brand. Imagine that. Mate, if I was the person doing the interview, I'd be like, you're hired. Yes. So good. Alright, where are these bangs? So I just think that your hair part's better naturally on that side. So I'm just going to incorporate this bang into here. Where is it? I just don't want to recut it. I want it to grow, but I don't want it to look like it's not meant to be with the rest of the haircut, you know what I mean? People are like, love your haircut, but what's going on with your bangs? I don't want you to say, oh yeah, I'm growing them out. Alright, Pearl, I reckon we're done, babe.
Awesome.
I reckon we're done. See how that just works in there a bit better. See how I've just sort of integrated that a little bit there for her, so it doesn't look so out of place. Pretty cool. I want you to be a little bit more rock, you know what I mean? Be a rock star, be fun. Alright, so here, turn around again. Going to put the chair down first. The reason why I do this, guys, and I actually do this in the salon. So if I have a client who's wearing what Pearl's wearing, I don't know if you remember what she was wearing when we started this video, I'm not going to have her facing the mirror when I take her cape off. Because what do you think's happened underneath there? Skirt might have moved or whatever. You've got to allow people the dignity and the privacy to make sure. So you guys are the mirror, so I'm just going to allow Pearl to stand up. You don't have to take it off yet, just jump up. Make sure you're all adjusted. And you can just pull that off. I'll just blast any hair inside your neck off. Like that. And have a seat, mate. And this way. Now you cross your legs. Good. So this is all cold air. This is just to get it set. I might just actually give this part here a little turn, just because it looks a little bit fluffy where the bangs are. Cold air's on. Oh man, I love my job. Well, please go to the beginning of this video and take a look what Bell looked like when we started. Because wow, it's gone from mild to wild. Just a little bit of the Matrix texture builder, just to really bring out that texture that we've spent all that time creating. Let's mix your collar up, gorgeous. Make sure. I tucked it in because the length of your cutting sometimes it can get in the way. And then I'm just going to use a little bit of smooth setter just to finish and smooth it off a little bit. I'm going to spin you back around so I can use the mirror. Yeah, I actually think what it was that I wasn't happy with was, and we do points on people all the time, I just don't think the point suited you. It's sort of like made your face look a little bit too long, so I just like squared it off. So it is longer in the front, but then it comes in and it squares.
Yeah.
And I just think that's a little bit nicer for your face shape. Just bring out this texture, make sure it doesn't look too neat and tidy. A little bit fun for you. Spin you back around so I can see this side and the back. Not the ideal top to wear when you have a haircut like this, but I made it short enough so it sits above, so you don't have to worry about that. We'll spin around, let everyone have a look. Nice shape in the back. I wanted it choppy and sort of rock star, so it's like edgy, fun. Spin it back around this way. All that beautiful texture in there. And then back towards the front. Boom. Ladies and gentlemen, the new Pearl. How you feel?
Like a different person.
Yeah?
Yeah. So different. to
Touch
what
it,
I've
have some
ever
fun
had.
with it, you can play around with it a little bit.
It's light as a feather.
I think, I don't know, just I mean, again, I'm very fortunate that the majority of people I do in the last few videos have been exceptionally attractive, such as yourself. So you didn't look bad when you got here, but that hair was doing nothing for you.
Yeah.
Nothing. So you can see that Hannah has actually done a little bit of contouring here, and you can see that in that bang coming through, it's a little bit blonder than everywhere else. So thanks, big shout out to Hannah who did this yesterday. And you can also see as I spin her around, and I think that's why I went and laid it again, because I just don't feel like having it all one length gave us the right amount of contrast with the depth here, because I want that to sit flat into the neck. I wanted it to be straight. I didn't want it to be bobby and sort of turning it around, and I wanted some sort of choppiness, something sort of more fun and modern happening here. And then again, when we come through to this side, you can see again this contouring that's been done, and you can see these particular pieces in here that stand out lighter and blonder and brighter than everywhere else. And if you want to show off your face, we can do that too. Just push it back in there and
Yeah? Happy?
Yeah, love it.
Awesome. I think you'll well, you'll go great at the job interview, and I can tell you that it won't be the hair if you don't get the job, because that'll definitely go in your favour.
I'm sure I'll get it.
It's been great.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks guys for tuning in again. It's just, I guess it's not as polished and it's not as smooth, and it's probably longer than what it is when we pre-record it and cut it and edit it, but live streams are good for a few reasons. You saw all the issues that I encountered today with cutting hair long to short that you guys will deal with. You know, that it wasn't sitting right, I was struggling with the balance. I laid it first, I didn't like it, I had to do it again. I struggled with being able to deal with the condition and the texture of the hair in the beginning. That slowed me down. All these things happen to us in salon, and I believe that that's why live videos are great. Great way of me sharing content with you. And on that, by me doing live videos, although they drag out a little bit and I talk a lot and, you know, whatever, I know if you get me started, you can't get me stopped, but it's a really great way of me bringing you regular content, so I hope you enjoy them, and if you do, make sure you subscribe and you turn on the notifications, not only for when I post, but you can actually turn on notifications for live events. It's Monday here in Australia. We started the stream at 10:30 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, so wherever in the world you are, keep an eye out for me on this time, on that day where you are, because I'm most likely going to be popping up and doing a live stream at this time every Monday throughout the year. So if during the week a client will allow me to film their hair while I'm cutting it in the salon while there's people in here, I will continue to do that. Otherwise, I'll be coming in and doing it on Monday. Maybe Pel can send me some of her friends, maybe she can send me a mum, aunties, or cousins, because I know it seems like I only do young, beautiful people all the time. But it's actually more of a case of it's the younger ones who are more willing to come on and be exposed in front of the camera on the internet. I find that when I approach women who are actually even my age, 40, which is by no means old, they're reluctant to be able to, you know, come in and have their hair done on a live stream. So please don't think that I only select beautiful young women like Pearl. So if you're out there and you want me to have your hair cut here in Canberra on a Monday for HairTube, send me an email, info@adamciaccia.com, and I would love to have you on. Pearl, thanks for coming in, babe.
Thank you.
Any final words of wisdom for someone wanting to cut their hair off?
Change your life. Come into Access Hair.
Wow, you got to get on the plane and get over here. So I didn't tell her to say that. That wasn't rehearsed. Give up. Thanks, babe. You look amazing. And I hope you have a good day today. Thanks, guys. Make sure you go and follow Pearl on Instagram. She'll have her Instagram handle in the description of this video.
Like, comment, subscribe.
There you go. She does it better than me. You can tell the age difference. 20 and 40, like. How do you do it? Show me again. Like. Comment. Subscribe. And turn on notifications.
Oh yeah, turn that notification bell.
Thanks, guys. See you next time. Take care.